Who am I here with today?
Hi, I'm Hosaena. I'm a member of the organizing committee.
My name is Nina. I'm also a member of the organizing committee.
Amazing. And can you just give me the brass tacks of what's going on today?
Yeah, so we organized a worker solidarity rally to bring light to the unilateral changes that not only Dartmouth Dining Services, but the Bylock administration as a whole is enacting on workers, on organizers, as SEIU or on SEIU staff, as well as faculty on this campus.
Would you please define SEIU?
Sure, it's the local representing full-time employees here at Dartmouth College, so everyone from custodians to non-student dining workers in the cafes, and even SNS, so campus security forces.
Gotcha. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, not to that.
Okay, cool. I'll give you another question then. So, how many, is this the first one you've done? Have you done multiple? How many months, years have you guys been organizing for this specific situation?
We've had multiple rallies over the years. We've had multiple rallies over the years. I think SWCD started organizing in 2022. And so since then, we've always had public demonstrations just about workers' conditions, not only how that affects student workers, but as Hosaena was saying, how it affects students' experiences with dining, but also other workers on campus, just like Gold, which is the graduate student union that recently, or the worker union that recently unionized last year and won a contract. And we also currently represent UGAs, which are residential advisors on campus.
What is something you think every time you're trying to communicate with higher ups, faculty, what seems to be just like a block that feels just like you keep coming up against specifically?
I'd say the concept of institutional neutrality in the face of blatant hostility from the Trump administration and our direct managers. There's no such thing as being apolitical or neutral, but yet time and time again, we see how Dartmouth administration and management cowers behind this just as a lie and a facade to not even meet our demands in good faith. So this concept of, we don't want to take a stance is actively endangering students. In fact, we'd like to ask Bylock, when you arrested 90 students, was that an act of institutional neutrality? No. But we know how sort of like transient and ambiguous they want to make that concept, but we're here to tell them, no, we need specific ways, we need specific answers in how you plan to protect your workers and students.
And we've been combating this a lot in contract bargaining. SWCD is currently renewing the contract for dining student workers and for the first time creating a contract for UGAs, and constantly we're met with those arguments either of,
We can't afford it.
Or these situations haven't happened yet, and so we can't speak about recognizing the union in as a hypothetical if the NLRB we're no longer to recognize unions. And so even though they claim that they're being neutral and they're being fair, by hiring the anti-union and anti-abortion lawyers that they have, they've made their position clear when it comes to student workers and the conditions that they're willing to provide, or their good faith. So.
And how do you feel that this does or does not affect just the social climate of this school, just in day-to-day relations with people?
I think a former speaker spoke to it very well, in which if conditions are bad, or I guess Nick from Fossil Free Dartmouth put it really clearly that if conditions are bad for workers, students will feel it too. Your sort of daily life will be interrupted and just made worse because the people that serve you already have it worse. So I think our major goal right now is to bring people towards our bargaining session meetings, but also communicate that what happens on campus is interconnected, and the Dartmouth administration will try to blur that. We'll try to create walls, literal walls, barring workers, not even student workers, from interacting with the student body. So in spite of all this, we find that it's our duty to kind of force these conversations and make people understand that when workers are valued, students are also valued.
100%, and I just wanted to add that, like Hosaena was saying, this is not a Dartmouth-specific issue. If anything, what is happening locally on campus is just a reflection of what is being enabled and promoted nationally, and we are just trying to combat that in the areas that we can and with our collective power as workers on campus.
Yeah.